and this is another one coming from via text. And it says, in the current situation with the coronavirus, how can we live in faith without being presumptuous? So, we want to live in this faith, but we also don't want to assume that everything is just going to be fine. But how do you balance those two things, Dr. Holland? How do we do that?
It's interesting, Ruben. There are a number of Christians that will quote passages, and it's over and over again in the gospel. It occurs more than one time. But for example, in Mark chapter 16 and verse 18, Jesus speaking says this to his followers: "They will take up serpents," speaking of his people, "and if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover." Some people take this idea, and some people have taken it to the extremes of intentionally poisoning themselves, intentionally being in the presence of venomous snakes. Is this what Jesus meant? And you use that word presumption, Ruben. That would be presumptuous, to take this idea of, well, hey, Jesus said this, and now I don't need to be afraid. Or in our current situation, hey, Jesus said these deadly plagues are not going to hurt me. I'm not going to get poisoned. So I'm not going to follow any of the recommendations. I'm just going to go out. I'm going to touch everything. I'm going to touch my face. I'm going to touch my eyes because Jesus says I'm going to be okay. That would be a very, frankly, irresponsible way of thinking of things as a Christian. And secondly, a very presumptuous thing. Now, what do we have? Acts chapter 28, we have Paul reaching into wood to get some wood for a fire. He gets bit by a serpent, and Jesus protects him in that. That was not a presumptuous act of Paul, but rather it is a part of what he was doing, and this accident happened, and Jesus miraculously saved him. And so the bottom line is, Ruben, as Christians, we're called to be responsible, and we must follow these recommendations, because when we move forward and we know how the virus is spread and we say, but Jesus will protect me, that's not only irresponsible, it is not actually faith. It is what we would call presumption.
Absolutely.
Can I just add real quick? So I was thinking of Proverbs 14, and actually you can look all over Proverbs, and it really talks about the prudent, the wise person considers their steps. In 14:15, for example, that's what it says. It's kind of all over Proverbs, where it says, you need to be wise. You were given a brain, and so use it, right? Do your best, and then leave the rest in God. And then, just thinking of the faith part, like for me, there's two things that I do at this point when I'm dealing with the anxiety, that I get that's going on. Number one, I stop listening to the news. Like, I will look at it sometimes, right? Because I need to know what's going on. And then that's it. For the rest of the day, I'm just doing my regular daily routine. I can't be sucked into it, or it will suck me into the anxiety, right? So I have to stay away from that. And then number two is something that actually my youth reminded me of. We are doing these devotionals that on Wednesday and on Fridays. And on Friday evening, the first one that they did, two of them, they were talking about the story in Mark where Jesus and the disciples are on the boat, and this huge storm comes, and they're all freaking out and just bailing water, right? And Jesus is sleeping. He's just laying on the boat. And to me, it's just every single time now that I think of, all that's going on, I think of that story. It's just like they kind of just jump-started, my faith through all of this because of what they shared with me and with all of us. Because it's so amazing that Jesus is sleeping. He's not caught off guard. He knows what's going on right now. He knew the coronavirus was coming, right? He's there for us all the time, and we can trust in that. It's just amazing that how peaceful he is in that whole situation. And it just makes me think, okay, I don't need to freak out. I just need to trust in God.
Amen. Amen.